It is the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast coming to you from the One More and I'm Out of Here studio. Is that the official name now? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
And I just want to say,
change it every time,
that you are watching a historic podcast today, because for the first time in the history of
the world,
this podcast, I am going to get this out of the way right up front and come clean on this and admit that on this podcast today, I have brought nothing to the table.
Perfect.
Although you do have some things for me that we didn't use during the last podcast. I don't think
you actually sent them after the last podcast.
Yeah.
It was after we were done. You
so
sent them
I did bring something to the table, although it doesn't feel like
except for your mind. Except for your mind.
My mind is perfectly fine.
Is it? Is it really?
No, because I looked at the dates too when I was looking at the emails, because I throw them into a podcast folder.
Well, see, whenever I see something that I think would be good for the podcast, I send it to you. But today,
I had them all.
I was so busy last night and today, I was not able to really do any research for the podcast. So let's enjoy the things that I sent you earlier. Even though, see, that's like one of those things where you say, like, you know, I thought I was wrong about something, but it turned out I wasn't.
That's right.
So I thought I didn't bring anything to the table today, but it turns out I actually did.
I was actually impressed because you got it to me early.
Yeah, usually
it's normally
minutes.
after I already set the show up in the morning.
That's right.
And then
it's on the way in.
Then I get it, an hour beforehand. I'm like, fuck.
Hour. Usually it's 10 minutes.
I can't even keep up with my own productivity. That's amazing.
You are a sight to behold,
yes,
my friend.
But you lost the remote control.
You may have noticed our buddy Andrew Pappas is back with us today. Andrew, how was your bingo? We saw your girlfriend at the bingo.
Oh, here we go.
Did you happen to see that little?
I don't think I saved it. Though.
I did not.
Oh, we don't have. We're not going to be able to revisit.
I don't think I saved it.
That was an absolute classic.
Not a big bingo guy.
It was a classic.
But I am back. The King returns. The No King Day was last week, but now it's King Day.
Are we going to show the thumbnail that you made?
He won't show it. Scared, and I included you guys on it.
I couldn't fucking download it.
Well,
dude.
I sent it to you multiple ways, and it hurts me.
But we don't have the technology to show that to our viewers.
I'll attempt to fucking find it. He sent me his dumbass.
And then, I would like the viewers to look at it and see if they can
pick out.
You claim that I'm in there. I would like the viewers to see if they.
I'm a team player. I put you in there specifically.
You put yourself in there like really, really
no,
big.
It wasn't that's the algorithm.
It's
not me. It's the algorithm.
They blame everything on the algorithm.
That's what Jason does. Every time something goes wrong, he's like, the algorithm. So it sounds good to me.
Well, it's a thing.
Here,
it is a
saying
thing.
It to him now. It's such a
no.
great
I got it now.
You got it. Now?
I'm handling it, Andrew.
Okay. Well, I'm just making sure.
I'm going to put
Whoopi is not one of my exes. Let's
subject
be fair.
title dick.
I have.
Cool. I know exactly which email that.
Thank you.
All right.
So anyway, it's good to be back. I was gone for a short trip, and I might say that Delta Airlines has a wonderful sense of humor.
Did they treat you well?
I might say that Delta.
I don't know why Dan is playing this on his speakers, but
silenced it.
So no, Delta has a funny sense of humor because they I have a really, I don't know. Do you guys fall asleep on the airplane when you fly? Because I do
sometimes.
As soon as they close the door, I'm out. I don't hear anything. I don't listen. So apparently we were stuck in Houston for a little while on the tarmac, and
I like to look out the window.
No, I fall asleep, and so I was crashed.
Especially when we're taxiing and going down the runway.
I don't look at anything.
All that stuff. I like to look at the other airplanes.
Sound asleep.
I like to see what I can see.
So we were getting into Atlanta, and I thought I had like an hour, but I forgot that Atlanta was in the Eastern time zone, and we landed, and my time changed. I was like, oh shit, I've got like 10 minutes to my connection.
They're like, the fat Greek guy fucking sleeping on the plane.
That's right. So
somebody's got to go wake that sleeping bear up.
So they go, well, and we landed in like B, and I had to get to A. And we landed in. If anyone's been to Atlanta,
well, at least you were that close.
No. Atlanta is like the terminals ABC. They're just fingers coming off of a common corridor. So if you're in A21 or A31, you've got to run 31 gates down to it, and if you're in B21, you got to run up to the thing. So I had to do a giant U, and I don't run much, but I had a nice pace going. Except I got blocked out a couple times. So I get to the gate.
Why didn't you get one of those courtesy cars?
No,
you know,
I'm not there yet. But so I get to the gate, and that's such a great thumbnail. Look at that. I put all of us in there. Now, how could you say that doesn't look like you? It's spot on. That is you, Frodo.
You are so full of shit.
Dude, look at it. It's you. The readers thing.
I actually don't see it.
You don't see it?
I don't see it.
Show him.
And anyone who's looking at that, you look at that and you let me know if you think that's me.
Jason's in the back. He's Gandalf the Great or the White or whatever. I mean, it's such a great.
I mean,
I can see Jason as Gandalf a little bit.
I'm close to that. Maybe like we're about 20 years off, but I mean, I'll be there.
All you do is grow your hair out and dye it white.
That's right.
Well, no, they wouldn't recognize Smeagol. They wouldn't recognize the face. So I've got this app that has to see the faces. So I just had some fun with it.
What picture of me did you use?
I don't know. I grabbed something.
It's definitely not a picture of me.
Well, it's just
because there's no way.
Well,
there's no way.
It goes along with he wanted that one.
It was on the shirt. Well, wait a second. If you're gonna be critical, look at my forehead. I got one of those giant chrome domes. Look, that's a great picture. It's just a fucking great picture.
Snake Plissken.
So anyhow, where was I? So I got to the gate. I tell the lady, I'm like, I'm here.
Andrew Pappas
and
is Snake Plissken.
Wait, I'm looking at the plane. Shut up. So she yells down the corridor. She goes, "Don't close the door." And they're like, "Oh, we just closed it." I'm like, but there's the plane. I go,
I can see it.
I can see it. The gates, the thingy, the movable thingy is still attached.
It's a beautiful thing about the door. They can open it.
They can open it again, right? No, they couldn't. Like now it's hermetically sealed. You can't open it again.
No, that's not.
So I had like 2 hours to kill in Atlanta. I got home late, but besides that, it was a good trip. Saw my folks and all's well. So
good. How's Pops doing?
Pops has got, he's 90. He's got some health issues. At 90, things just don't work the way you used to.
Sure.
So we're just going through that. But hopefully next week he starts some medical treatment. Nothing serious per se. But
the interesting thing about that is that you didn't get on the flight, and we have video of what you missed on that flight.
Yes.
So wait, you're hijacking.
Nice.
You brought nothing to the table, but you're hijacking.
Well, I know you have that piece of video.
I do. And again,
but that's a good segue.
I'll deal with this when we're done. When we're not live, I'll deal with this.
Ooh. Oh, sounds threatening.
Hold on, let me find it.
A little
there's a reason to the fucking madness, but never mind.
Yeah.
Here, hold on. Let me get to what Dan wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Thank God.
Well, actually, it's pretty funny because it ties into the.
It does, but so did the lead story.
You sure you weren't flying Southwest though?
I was not flying.
If you were flying Southwest, it'd be a funny bit.
It could have been.
Oh, so that's Delta's policy is once they close the door.
Shut the fuck up.
Well, he's got to play the video.
You can't.
Stay there. Don't touch her. No. No, this is where her asshole is.
Do not touch her.
Look at her.
Shut the fuck up. Don't fucking touch me. Step back.
What is she going? Do you know the backstory of this? Like, what's she going for?
She's actually an artist.
Man, she's just going.
And she works for like 2 other like big.
Well, the other girl's safe because she's got a mask on.
Your hair, bitch.
Right, so she's safe.
You need to let go.
You need those 911.
You need to let go.
911, bro.
You need
She's
to
like,
let
I'm
go.
not even holding her hair. Look at that. She's got the Vulcan death grip on her hair. Yeah. Oh, and her boyfriend has a mask too. They're really safe.
He's trying to get her off.
No, I don't think that's
You need to let go.
The guy on the right.
Yeah.
The black dude.
No, not the black dude. The guy sitting right next to her.
Let go.
She's like, she's got my hair.
So
That's a marshal. That's when you pull out the taser.
Well,
Start
he obviously
tasing.
doesn't know where the pressure point is.
Yeah, put me on the ground.
Do you know that? Can you show us?
I don't know where it is either.
Okay.
But they teach you that.
Look
in
at this
cop
fat
school,
lady.
so he's obviously not
Look
a
at this
cop.
badass bitch. She can't even look.
Is that
You
it
can't
right
even
there?
see her stomach.
Well, remember that
Make it- make it
dog
fit.
fighting video that the guy
Look
did
at
to
this
make the
badass
dog
bitch.
stop?
Is this gonna hurt?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
You can't even show
Do you
your
remember
mouth.
the dog fighting video that the guy knew the trick to get the
Can I
dogs
see
to
it?
stop
You're
fighting?
embarrassed. Shut the
Maybe that's
fuck
what
up.
he needed to do there.
Who is Alana?
Do you remember
Look
that?
at this.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Look at
I
this
can't hear you,
chick.
ugly
Oh,
ass
she's
fucking
nuts.
dude. He's never gonna lay it again.
Now we have two. We have
See, the New York Post says
Okay,
she's
I'm
drunk.
sorry, black
we have a
guy.
back to back.
My boyfriend's black.
So shut the fuck up. My boyfriend's
And I
fucking
don't
a
know if
black
it's
guy.
this one
My boyfriend's a
or the
black. My
next one.
boyfriend's
She
black. My
starts
boyfriend's
spitting.
fucking.
Yeah, there's
black
another
guy.
one where she's on the floor.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
she's kicking her legs.
The guy's got his
Yeah,
backpack
there
on.
she is.
So he's just another passenger, and then that's, I guess, a police officer. What is
See,
that?
it looks to
Shut the
me like
fuck up.
that guy.
Shut the
He's
fuck
he's
up.
got a Southwest thing on.
it looks to me like they're still at the gate there. So why didn't they get her ass off the airplane?
Pulling her head. Look at this one.
See, to me,
Smell my pit.
that's exactly what I fucking would do. Is I would choke the shit out of her on that fucking chair.
Leanna Perry
Oh, you'd put her
is
head
her
down.
name. 32
Yes.
years old, an illustrator. She was berating a fellow passenger. This is according to the New York Post.
Try to get the other one.
Throwing a violent fit as travelers and airline employees tried to remove her from the plane at LaGuardia.
Wow.
The bizarre outburst was witnessed or led witnesses to describe Perry as seeming possessed
Yeah, I told you. Say
before
it.
she was escorted off the plane.
Yeah, but
Social media and websites where she shares her work reveal she's not ruining flights. She worked as an artist and a designer for several major brands, including Maybelline, Adidas, Mac, Steve Madden, Hot Topic, and Shine. So I get, she's someone who's like semi-famous, and she just went haywire on that airplane.
Well, she's definitely fucking famous now.
Yeah.
Probably on a do not fly list. But here's a
She's talking about her boyfriend being black, and she's sorry that like this
You have
one
another
gal's
angle there,
girlfriend
Jason?
has
there's
such a
a
small
whole
dick.
second video with it. I can turn the volume up. I think probably.
Probably a lot of F words.
Yeah, a lot of F words. Yeah. I'm sorry about your boyfriend, she continued. Your boyfriend's dick is like 2 inches big. It's embarrassing.
Ugly ass.
I'm
bitch.
so sorry
You're
about your
fucking-
boyfriend. That's what she was saying
You
to that
never
guy.
got laid in your life. Your boyfriend's dick is like 2 inches big.
There it is.
That's embarrassing. I'm so sorry about your boyfriend.
Watch his bitch
That's
fall
horrible.
on the floor.
That's
She pulls a
horrible.
George Floyd and says, "I can't breathe."
Yeah,
Falls
I
on
saw
the
that.
floor and then
You
just
can't
starts
breathe.
writhing up the aisle.
I can't breathe.
Well, if you're getting
I can't
closer to the
breathe.
doorway, then
I
that's
can't
fine.
breathe. Okay.
Lady
Let
is
me
kinda
go. I
got her
can't
face
breathe.
right
I
into
can't
that
breathe. Shut
seat
the fuck
cushion.
up. I can't breathe. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Who the hell does she think she is?
Touching me. Fuck
Um,
you. You're not letting me
What
go.
was the girl's name on
You're
The
corny
Exorcist?
as fuck.
Linda Blair?
Yeah.
Reagan.
Letting me
Reagan.
go.
Reagan was a character name.
Reagan. Oh.
Yeah, you
What-
shouldn't.
Yeah, they
Fuck
deplaned the
you.
front part. They
She's
couldn't
a
get
limber
these.
little thing, isn't she?
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I hit. Somebody should sea punch her.
Fuck you.
See what I did
There,
there?
no, she's kicking.
See how I reserved
She's
it?
kicking the lady.
Shut
God, she
the
really
fuck
didn't
up.
like that
Everybody
girl.
do something,
'Cause she's
please.
fat, she
Shut the
said.
fuck up.
Well, there's a camp here that we could send her to.
Yeah, okay, then
What's it called?
I mean, have you guys ever been on a flight where you've had to be deplaned because of somebody?
No.
Yeah, one time I was on a flight where we had to actually get off and go back into the airport.
Oh, I flew on a buddy pass one time. They were pulling the plane back, and then it stopped and dragged forward. And they said, "Could you guys get off the plane? Or the ticketed passengers showed up." So I had to get yanked off. For
Oh
that
man,
back in the day, although they didn't do that for me at Delta. Oh, and then the next Delta flight was delayed, so I sat on the tarmac for like 2 hours.
I hate that.
Loathe that.
So you put in the subject when you sent that to me, Dan, is are they not putting air marshals on flights anymore?
I said that.
Probably
That was a subject
probably not
of your
Southwest.
email.
That doesn't sound like a subject I would send you.
Bro, I fucking got it. Oh my god. Are you
I'm-
early onset dementia?
I'm just saying.
Where's
that.
the remote?
I'm surprised that
I kept them all. Hold on.
that I said. Well, the thing is,
Because I was going to look into it because we
When-
both know a bunch of
I know.
a bunch of air marshals.
but I have seen some reporting where the air marshals are not as frequent on airplanes as they used.
I heard they were cutting back on those.
So
That's what I heard.
so domestic flights, according to the people that I know, there is roughly maybe 10% or 20% of domestic flights have an air marshal.
It's not very much.
Every international flight
Has one.
has at least two.
Did you see? Speaking of that,
But that was in your subject line when you sent me that email.
Well, here's what happens when.
So I was going to reach out to our buddies
when I'm looking at my X feed on my iPhone. It automatically puts a subject line in there when I'm getting ready to email it.
Okay, so all right, so maybe it wasn't.
So I perhaps sometimes I usually go back and change it because sometimes the subject line isn't that great.
Mm.
So
did you see? Speaking of air marshals,
I might have let that one
Falk
slip.
just said, "Does Dan know where he's at?"
Hey, did you guys see Terry Bradshaw with TSA?
No,
they actually. Yeah, this is on his page. They actually now Terry Bradshaw's a pretty well-known guy, right? I mean, everyone should know him by sight. They took him into a room for a private pat-down search, TSA, and he's sitting there going,
"Well, he's a fucking Steeler. I wouldn't trust him either."
But I mean, yeah, Terry Bradshaw, he's turned. He's now a terrorist. He's had a bad year. I mean, come on, give me a break. He's well known. Why would you do that?
Terry doesn't know where he is.
I mean, I just couldn't believe
because
it.
he's starting to slip it.
Why were they searching him? Did he
just because
have some
TSA,
poor behavior?
I have no idea, but they and he was just kind of like he couldn't believe he wasn't raising a stink, but he's like, I can't believe they're doing. And people have said, oh well, no special treatment. Well, are we looking for terrorists? I'm pretty sure Terry Bradshaw is not a terrorist. I feel safe going out there and saying that.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. So that was weird. It's on his page. It's pretty funny.
So to redirect a little bit, but this goes right in. I want your guys' opinion on this whole fucking mystery flight from China to Iran. Raise questions amid Israel conflict. Now, Dan, you are in the know of all things global.
Well, I was talking to a guest of mine last night on my show, and we discussed this topic briefly.
And I'm curious.
And he was of the opinion that, and I tend to share this opinion, that if Iran is going to enrich uranium and they're going to build a nuclear weapon, they're going to have to get either expertise, or they're going to have to get machinery, equipment, the centrifuges, all that stuff you need to enrich uranium,
since most of their higher ups got clicked on that first.
Yeah.
That
so
first bombing rig.
There's some thought that that these items can be had from China. So China may be very well be going in there and collecting a whole bunch of shit that's related to their nuclear program
to remove any
that says "Made in China" on it.
I'd agree with that.
And they made so that was I think that's a distinct possibility. That those airplanes that were going into Tehran were empty, and they dispatched
and they're bringing stuff back.
But the flights are going from Tehran to like the Netherlands. They're going from China to Tehran, and then from Tehran to the Netherlands.
If you were looking for Chinese-made shit, wouldn't the Netherlands be the last place you look?
You mean like in a cheese factory?
Yeah. So this article.
Who knows? I think that's a distinct possibility.
This article reads: several Boeing 747s have been spotted on radar leaving China for Iran over the last week, according to reports sparking concerns that the CCP is helping Middle Eastern nation transport cargo or people out of the country as Israel continues to strike the country's nuclear facilities. Starting on June 14th, Flight Radar 24, which I have that app. That's a great app, by the way, shows at least 5 flights traveled from China to Iran, and the Telegraph reported that the quote-unquote mystery transport planes had flown westward along northern China before crossing into Kazakhstan, south through, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce all that bullshit, and then fell off the radar as they approached Iran. This is the thing that was funny to me. Additionally, the report indicated the flights had a final destination, Luxembourg, but don't appear to have ever crossed into European airspace. That was kind of like the trigger for me. Like, all right, if you're doing something and you've been in aviation, in the helicopters, and know how flight plans work and all that shit, how do you not show up there?
Well, I think everyone knows that it would be a pretty far stretch to suggest that China and or Iran would lie about anything.
Weird. I know it's fucking strange. Right?
I mean, that the likelihood of that happening is probably very slim.
So weird.
So no,
so we got-
I think that they're either. I can't imagine what they would be bringing in at a time like this.
just
But
take it
but I
step
think
up.
I
agree
think
with that.
Trump has got. I think he's got China in a position right now where they really can't they can't be too bold acting on this. Iran, thanks to Mike Pompeo, wrote a really great piece about how the world should really thank Israel for what they're doing.
Oh,
as far as degrading Iran's ability to respond in a meaningful way to this, that their ability to respond has really been hurt by them. So I think Trump's in a great position where he's fully supporting Israel.
Mhm.
He's and this Operation Rising Lion, the way they carried that out and were able to lop off the head of the entire command structure there.
that was
Absolutely
epic.
amazing.
If people don't
Yeah.
know about that, that was epic because it was very close to what they did with the beepers and the
Yeah.
cell phones. So they tricked these guys into thinking.
We covered that on the
The
One
last
Morning
show?
Out of Here podcast.
Well, I wasn't here.
Thanks for watching.
So anyway, but I just thought. Here's my point. The Israelis, I mean, they're just diabolical with what they think up. I mean, they don't mess. They think so far ahead, and I agree with your assessment. But we owe a debt of gratitude to what Israel's doing right now. If they don't do this, it doesn't get done, and then eventually we'll be in a much worse position down the road. So I think the world is recognizing that, though. Judging from the response, don't you think the rest of the world's kind of begrudgingly acknowledging the fact that this needs to be done, and Israel's the only one that can do it?
Well, at this point, if you look at it, I mean, Iran doesn't have any friends. Trump has got them isolated pretty well, and I think that's part of his overall strategy is to isolate them to where they can't get any help from the outside, and so that's why I think these flights from China are probably fairly benign in terms of
Just a CYA, right?
Yeah, them being able to, and they might look if they've got equipment in there that is integral to Iran being able to enrich uranium, which I do not know all the ins and outs and what it takes. I'll admit I'm a dummy on this one. 513. I don't know what it takes to enrich uranium. You got me on that one.
We haven't seen him yet. We haven't seen him yet.
I have fallen
woefully.
woefully short in that area of my understanding. But if if China has equipment that came from China that they're using in that, I can see the point where they would want to get that shit out of there.
Yeah.
Be especially if the bunker bomb, the bunker busting bomb from the United States is not going to be used. Israel may have to wind up sending commandos in there on the ground to go in there and destroy these facilities the old-fashioned way.
You mean the Chris Christie bomb? Is that the bomb?
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah,
That's a bomb he drops every fucking morning.
Yeah,
I'll
so
call it-
if they go in and take out these facilities and do it the old-fashioned way, you don't want these guys walking around and say, "Oh, look at all this stuff that came from China," and then that opens up a whole can of worms for.
It's also called the
For China.
Erica bomb. Judging from that picture that I saw earlier,
it throws just question out there that obviously the left is definitely going to jump on. But I was curious. I mean, knowing that we're not completely involved, but we're supporting, but we're not physically involved dropping bombs ourselves. Where's it going to go? Because if China's going to start fucking playing those fuck games, then our hands are going to be tied.
the sad thing is, we had a great base in Iraq that was just abandoned under the last administration.
You mean Afghanistan?
Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I said Iraq.
Could have come in handy.
Could have come in handy at this time.
Yeah,
Perfect placement.
And could you imagine what we'd be talking about today if everything else was equal, but Kamala Harris was your president and this was going on today? I mean, could you imagine? Where would we be? I mean, think about it. Where would we be? We'd have some giant word salad every day that you'd have to muddle through to figure out what the hell she's talking about.
I mean, I just want to say that we're working.
So Iran is a country.
It's a country
and
that
China
has
is a
people.
country, and China's a bigger country. Oh my God! What an
Did
idiot.
you guys see? Did you guys see Ted Cruz on Tucker?
Yes.
And
yes.
the fucking bitch argument that they were having. I listened to it. I didn't get to see it. I listened to it. Oh my God. Between both of them trying to get fucking mic time and arguing who was right and who, like, what they needed to know versus what the interview was going to be was absolutely fucking hilarious.
I like both those guys.
I do too. And
so
I'm like, God damn, you both sound like fucking morons.
It was
right
a
now.
tough thing to watch. It was almost, I felt like I was watching Trump and Elon fighting again. I mean, Tucker's entertaining and he's a smart guy and he had some good questions. I don't think Ted was expecting Tucker to come at him so hard. I mean,
I don't think he was
is
either.
knowing the population of Iran a prerequisite for.
No, but it's just something that you should be like, okay, do you know the population? I mean, he could have said, 8 million, whatever. I didn't know. What was the answer? Was it 10 million?
Was
92.
Was it 92 million?
92
Okay, I have
million.
no idea. So, I mean,
I wouldn't have known. I mean, but I'm not a politician.
I think he was
going
making
on a major.
I think he was making a point that, you should probably know some general things about a country you're thinking about invading or at least toppling the government of.
Which I mean, I don't disagree, but yeah, I also agree with Ted Cruz and the fact that I have people that fucking give me that information as I'm looking at it, and then once that goes across my desk, I've got 17 other things coming across.
No, I agree. He delegates that out, and it's not relevant. It's not germane to the conversation in a direct way. And Tucker was kind of making a shitty point, but yeah, I just hated to see. I mean, I did hate to see it because I still like Tucker.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining just to watch.
I'm perplexed how he's
But his position is
heads.
what? That he wants zero U.S. engagement in this at all? Is that what he's getting at?
Kind of, sort of.
Well,
that's a naive perception to have as well. So I mean, it's not. I used to enjoy him on Fox because he just used to make me laugh. He's taken, now that he's been off Fox and he has his own just network on the YouTube or whatever. It's not nearly as entertaining for me. And plus, I don't.
See, I disagree.
I don't stream. So
I liked them both. I liked them both. I think Tucker still does a great job, and he actually kind of caught Ted when Ted said we, and it was all just a matter of semantics. But he got Ted Cruz to just completely get tongue tied.
Which is hard, right? You're right.
And he was like, well, you said that we didn't have anything to do with Israel bombing Iran. He was like, well, we're not bombing. But he said, you just said we. And he's like, well, we're supporting Iran. So it was semantics, right?
Yes.
But those semantics, 1 15-second clip, if you're going to be out there on the internet, that 15-second clip could hurt you in the later rounds.
Oh yeah.
So it's, and right, wrong or different. I don't know what Tucker's, what his end game was, but I agree. he didn't. I don't think Ted realized the questions that he was going to get.
Yeah, but it's not. None of it is necessary though. It's not as if Ted Cruz is going to shy away from an interview.
No,
and it's not as if this was a hostile situation where. That Ted Cruz is going to duck and dodge and weave and not try to give you a straight answer. I think Ted Cruz is one of those guys who's not afraid to call a spade, and he's going to answer your question as honestly and straightforward as he possibly can. I think that's just, if I had to size up Ted Cruz, I mean, that's the way I would size him up. So going after him, and Tucker is smart enough. Tucker's smart enough that he can throw a gotcha question at just about anyone.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. I don't. And he apologized to Trump for this. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was criticizing Trump for what he was doing on as it relates to Israel and Iran, and he was very critical of his policies. And then he put out a statement saying, "Let's see if I can look that."
But he hasn't really put any policies out. He said, I'm going to give it 2 weeks now, and then we're going to figure out what we're doing.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I know Tucker apologized to Trump or something.
Well, good. But as you should. That's okay. You can be wrong. Just be a man and own it.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. Whatever it is.
I thought I was wrong once,
but
I wasn't.
Haven't we already covered that ground?
No, that's what I was trying. Circling back.
All right, while you're looking for that, I'm going to pull this article up real quick because there's a lot of controversy over this one. And this was our number 2, but the whole ice going into Dodger Stadium. So there's conflicting reports on multiple fronts where Homeland Security is saying we weren't even there and whatever. But this article, when it came out, I saw it, sent it to myself because I was like, oh, well, that's kind of neat. But Dodgers say they asked federal agents to leave the parking lot. Now, immediately, I'm going to be the asshole in the room. Weird. But
There's a song about that.
Dodger Stadium is a perfect place to fucking post ice.
Yeah, I've never been.
It is a perfect fucking place.
I've never been, but
so why would you not? I mean, that's shooting fish in a barrel, and I hate it that I'm saying that, but it is what it is. But real quick, federal agents with the United States Department of Homeland Security set up outside Dodger Stadium on Thursday morning, sparking outrage on social media and triggering more protests against immigration enforcement in the city. This is coming from ESPN, by the way. Los Angeles Dodgers, who said they denied the federal agents access to the stadium's parking lot, subsequently postponed plans to unveil initiatives to assist local immigrant communities. And in quotes, because of the events earlier today, we continue to work with groups that were involved with our programs, Dodger president Stan Kasten said, but we're going to have to delay today's announcement while we firm up some more details. We'll get back to you soon with the timing. So what's coming out now is from Homeland Security is they are saying, and we have no idea that for the audio listeners, there's a picture on screen. We have no idea whether this is actually Dodger Stadium or not. It could be, file picture or whatever. But the Department of Homeland Security is saying we weren't there. So it's funny. So from Thursday to today, how things have changed. And I saw that and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. And then I see that now they're saying that they weren't even there. And whether the Dodgers as a franchise are trying to pull it in where they're being empathetic and saying
they're trying to enter the fray of the discussion.
Correct. So I don't know exactly where this lies.
I don't know. I know the guy the only thing I know about the Dodgers is I think the guy that has controlling interest just made a colossal offer on some NBA team, like $10 billion. I saw that yesterday.
And one of the quotes from X was false ice posted. We were never there. So it's a he said, she said. Yeah, we live in Cincinnati.
Well, a lot of times you got to look at that and you got to consider where that news is coming from. Right. It's coming from Los Angeles, coming from California, Southern California. Who rules the roost there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is it beyond these people to put out a fake story?
Oh, definitely.
To try and make the Trump administration look bad? I don't think so.
Nope.
Tucker Carlson called to apologize to Donald Trump after he criticized him for betraying his America First movement by supporting the Israeli missile strikes on Iran last week. Trump revealed that Carlson called him after the president called him out as kooky on Monday, taunted him for not being on cable television anymore.
I did see that. That was actually pretty funny.
Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day because he thought he said things that were a little bit too strong, and I appreciate that, Trump told reporters in the Oval. Carlson criticized Trump's support for the Israeli strikes in Iran, noting in a newsletter that many in Trump's mega movement are not happy. U.S. says it was not involved, Carlson wrote. That's not true. Trump is complicit in an act of war. So it was Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon also appeared on each other's podcasts on Monday, sharing their growing alarm that the president was launching another forever war in the Middle East. So I think Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon probably jumped the gun on that a little bit.
Yep.
Bannon,
look how much
Bannon loves to do that.
Yeah, but look how much reporting was done on this. How many? Raise your hand. How many were anticipating that we were going to launch B-2 bombers, fly over there, drop bombs on that nuclear facility that's 300 meters underground or whatever it is, and blow the hell out of it? That has not happened yet. We have said before on this show, and I think these words came out of my mouth, that Trump is, number one, he is a man of peace. He is a man of business.
You just said it.
And
like
business,
a couple of shows ago.
yeah, I mean, business is better when there is peace. War is not good for business, at least not the kind of business that Trump wants to engage in. So, carrying out a military strike is going to be way, 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 way down on the list of things that Trump wants to do. And even last night, he said, there's a diplomatic way out of this, is what the White House was saying last night. So now, he's back with, look, couple of weeks, we'll see what happens. So it tells me that there is a lot of activity going on behind the scenes, a lot more than meets the eye here. And I would not be surprised if we wind up not dropping a bomb. You let Israel do what Israel needs to do. Their situation's a lot different than ours.
Well, that means that they're going to have to put, because they don't have this bomb. So either we're going to give it to them and tell them how to use it, which I don't have a problem with.
And yeah, I mean, we sell most of their weapons anyway.
But I don't know if they have a platform, because apparently it's really heavy. So I don't know if they have a platform that can launch it from the air. So we'll see what happens. But I agree with that. And I mean, I'm still stunned that Israel has. I mean, I knew that Iran didn't have a.
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be surprised if they reach a deal where Israel is allowed to send its people in under the auspices of what is that agency called? The International Atomic Energy Agency, whatever it's called.
NAIA or something.
Go in there, plant explosives like a controlled demolition. I would not be surprised if that winds up happening.
I don't know.
And everyone stands around. Okay, fire in the hole. Boom, they blow it up. Okay, your nuclear program is gone.
Well, they say the problem is, I mean, if you're gonna put boots on the ground, it's damn near impossible to get in there with all the mountain ranges that are around it.
Yeah.
So the airstrikes. I mean, you've got mountains on the east, the north, and the west.
Yeah.
So, and then the Caspian Sea. Because I just literally saw this little rendering. Because I wasn't familiar. With the layout. And then you've got two deserts that you have to deal with. So like airstrikes are honestly, as far as human life goes, of the offensive, that's your best fucking bet.
Where's Hans Blitz when you need her? What was that guy's name? Remember that guy from back in the day, Hans Bricks? He was the big, got us into he was a big international guy that inspected Iraq back in the day. Hans.
I'm not 70. So
no, I mean that was before the Iraq War. So Hans Bricks or whatever his name was. But aren't you stunned how quickly? I know Iran did not have a powerful air force, although it is sad to see those Tomcats getting blown up. But that they have from us back in the day. But
those are Trader's World jets.
Israel just has complete dominance over their airspace, and I mean, I think that's just amazing. If you're watching, and if you watch, like we talked about, Israel has been relatively pinpoint in their strikes.
Yeah.
Put a missile into that guy's bedroom, into his bed. Also called a meeting and then bombed where the meeting was. I mean, they're not doing wholesale bombing like. Some people are criticizing their actions in Gaza, but I think they're being very precise, and I'm just amazed that they're doing as well as they're doing. And it's only the first week of this conflict.
Sorry if you hear Brody in the background.
That's all right. Brody's cool dude.
That son of a bitch, the lieutenant colonel of the Paw Patrol is going
the
crazy.
Lieutenant Colonel of the Paw Patrol.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he is going to town.
Hopefully you guys don't hear it.
He's
Amazon
protecting
delivery.
the realm.
So hopefully this thing works itself out. Trump said 2 weeks, but I did see a report that we're moving yet another air wing into the area, and that usually precludes or predates a military strike. So should make for an interesting weekend, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, just giving Trump his 2 weeks, and I would love to be a fly on the fucking wall.
Oh.
Just to hear those conversations, like, all right, what are our options? What is beneficial? What's the risk benefit?
I'm so relieved, though, that we have these people in charge. I mean, I know, and for us being as relieved as we are, the Democrats are just, and the liberals out there are just so eaten up with who's in charge. I mean, I would just be beside myself right now thinking that Joe Biden or whoever was running the White House was in charge of this whole situation with the people he put in during this whole conflict. I have the utmost confidence in the people Trump's put in position.
No, absolutely. And I agree, and I'm with you. I know it's going to go the way it needs to go. But all these, when you listen to the left and everything else, everything that they say, and I made the joke earlier today, this afternoon, it's just Trump's like holding the fly swatter. It's just like, shoe fly, get away. Because everything I'm doing, I said I was going to do, and it's happening. It's just not happening as fast as you want it to, but it's happening. Or you didn't think it was going to happen at all. Can we move on to?
Please do.
Can we move on to Crybaby? Because I got two with this one. This is a twofer.
Yeah.
One's from you, Dan, and one is from Julie.
So last week, when I heard something so blatantly un-American from the Secretary of Homeland Security, a cabinet official,
Just wait for it.
of course I was compelled, both as a senator and as an American, to speak up. But before I could even get out my question, I was physically and aggressively forced out of the room, even as I repeatedly announced I was a United States Senator and I had a question for the Secretary. And even as the National Guardsman and the FBI agent who served as my escorts and brought me into that press briefing room stood by, silently, knowing full well who I was. You've seen the video. I was pushed and pulled, struggled to maintain my balance.
Should have hung out with me yesterday.
What a puss.
I was
This
forced
is all for
to
the cameras.
ground. First on my knees, and then flat on my chest.
No.
Oh. How did you survive?
Fucking sob story.
And as I was handcuffed
I was handcuffed.
and marched
I was cavity
down
searched.
a hallway,
And I liked it.
repeatedly asking,
I've been bullshit if I
why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why.
Well, I'll tell you
I claim
why.
Never have a moment.
All right, so here, hold on. Before you go there, let me play this.
I'll
other
tell
one.
you why.
Let me play this one
Yeah.
that Jill sent me because this is I was giggling my ass off when she sent this to me.
Forced to the ground. First on my knees,
Trump's
and then flat.
Trump playing
On
a
my
shitty
chest.
recorder and a cat behind him.
And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? I was forced
Look
to
at
the
that cat.
ground.
Yeah. Cat's filing its nails.
First on my knees,
It's just so awesome.
It's playing a
and
recorder
then
as
flat.
well.
And that was Anna Paula Luna posted that. She's a congresswoman and she posted that. That's just
Oh my God,
So
that's
Jill-
funny as shit.
So Jill will send me stuff, and it's like I know we have a lot to cover, but there's certain things I'm like, oh yeah,
you
that,
gotta use that.
You know,
that is a good
this
one.
guy Padilla is such a moron, such an idiot. We saw the video. I watched it live as it happened. Kristi Noem was speaking to a room full of people, giving a press briefing on what was happening there in LA, because at that time, the riots were going on. People were going haywire.
Still going on.
This dude was in the room, standing off to her left when she's in mid-sentence, and he starts shouting her down.
Any bull rush.
He starts moving towards her. And look, he's not a small guy. He's a pretty big guy.
I was just going to say that while in the original video, he's not small.
No, there are people there in the room whose job it is to protect the secretary.
Yep.
If some dude rushes at her, acts aggressive, is shouting at the top of his lungs. And this shit about, oh, I didn't even get a chance to get my question out. That bullshit. You were acting like a clown, and if you were acting like a terror. Hey, look, these guys, you can sit there and say, I'm a United States Senator all day long.
So everyone can.
The security guys don't know that.
That's right.
They are there to protect, and that's exactly what they did. They got between him and the secretary and then moved him out of that room.
Given what's going on
he
in
resisted,
this country, right.
he put his hands on those security people, and even there were some uniformed officers in there. So for him to claim that he didn't know who these security people were, or he was just protecting, that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
Well, let me.
So he was resisting,
yeah,
in a vigorous manner. That's why they took you to the ground. That's why they put the cuffs on you. That's why they fucking frog walked your ass down the hall to get you, because you're a threat.
I like that.
You're fucking dangerous, dude, man. They don't know who you are. What'd they do? They took you to another area where they were able to do what? Have a conversation, find out who you are,
and then let you
get some ID, take the cuffs off, and say, dude.
And
and for him to not recognize that the security people were doing exactly what they were supposed to do is bullshit.
If he were to be in that same position, yeah. So you might know, because you guys are way more in tune politically, but do you know what every senator for every state looks like?
No.
God, no.
Okay. So
before this
fair.
happened, I couldn't have picked Padilla out of a lineup.
Okay.
I know a lot of the senators are. I don't know all of them.
Right.
No.
Perfect. So like, if you're working a security detail in that room at that time, how are you supposed to know? Now, when he's calling out his escorts, though, they're law enforcement, and they're like, "Whoa, bro, you're out of line. We're going to let them, because they're in charge of this room. We're going to let them do what they need to do. We'll figure it out later."
You know, there's a term that
make sense?
that I've heard for Democrats that applies here. Have you ever heard the term dictum? You know what dictum is? When you act like a dick, but you claim you're a victim. And that guy is clearly a dictum.
Yeah. And then
let's go in. Let's go ahead and finish.
Then a couple of days later, you got this numbnut in New York City, and ICE is in there arresting illegals. And so he walks up, and links arms with one of these illegal dudes. And so he's standing in the way of ICE doing their job, and he's talking about, "Hey, I need to see a warrant. I need to see a warrant." This guy's running for mayor of New York City.
Oh, he got taken down too.
Yeah. So he got, and his shirt's all,
and he has a long history of being.
His shirt's all coming out, and he's all disheveled and all this shit. And so he's carrying on, and then of course Kathy Hochul and all the other Democrats are talking about how Trump is running roughshod over all these these innocent politicians.
He's king.
What a bunch of crap.
He's another dictum.
So look, the video is out there. Everyone's seen it. They know these guys are being ass clowns, and they're getting treated the way they should.
Exactly.
And listen, especially put this in the background of what's gone on in this country. I mean, we have violence, right? People. We're not even talking about. You notice how quickly the guy that murdered the rep up in Minnesota. Notice quickly that's dropped from the news.
Yeah,
it's like it didn't happen.
It's not a pertinent news cycle.
Which leads me to believe that he's probably not going to be shown to be a hardcore MAGA supporter like some people were claiming, because when something drops out of the news pretty quick by the mainstream media, it's because they don't want to cover it, and you're being led. But we have sadly, it's not making light of it. It's not a good situation. Trump was at least twice attempted assassination. We had the reps up in Minnesota were murdered over the weekend. I mean, we have a lot of violence going on. So to err on the side of caution when some large dude bull rushes a public official, he had no ID on him. He didn't have the senatorial pin on his. I mean, in
fairness, I think this happened before the Minnesota, because
maybe it did, but I mean, my point is we've had a lot of violence.
But you're not. Yeah, you're not.
There's a whole
security is security, no matter what.
I'm just pointing out that there's a whole history here of violence against elected officials occurring in this country being called for by those on the left, and I would like to err on the side of caution. I mean, you know what? I'm sorry you got taken to the ground. If you said, I'm a U.S. Senator, here's my ID, and I want to ask a question, probably would have been handled differently, but you were a dictum.
Yeah.
And now you got what happens to dictums. Don't be a dick.
I want to move into Andrew's Playhouse.
Oh, God.
If you're okay with this, Dan.
Is that a new segment of the show?
Well,
Andrew's Playhouse?
I think we're going to start it.
Is that like Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Yeah, I think it's going to start.
Watch that
Just
show.
I hope we don't find any kids in there.
No, that was back in the day.
Oh my
You're
God!
an immigrant yourself. You
That was
are
a
an
funny
immigrant.
show.
You're an immigrant in this country.
Yeah.
Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was
There's one to follow.
embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine they came over here with the age of 21 with absolutely nothing. And so I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can, keep things clean, and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do, rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America.
Which I think that was awesome.
Some pretty good words there from Arnold.
He did.
Yeah.
He definitely deflected and didn't take the bait. And she didn't like it. I mean, she didn't like the
Of
answer.
course not.
So this is a segue from just a still photo of where we'll be saying being black is like living in Iran.
Oh,
Yeah.
that piece of
This is Andrew's Playhouse. This is what we're calling Andrew's Playhouse.
Do you know what her net worth is? I'll ask both of you guys. Do you know what her net worth is?
I have no
Whoopi
idea.
Goldberg?
Yeah.
Probably.
Wager a guess.
I'm going to say 45 million.
42. That was a good guess.
42.
Oh,
Okay.
good guess.
She's worth $42 million. That thing right there is worth $42 million. And she's getting off now complaining that, I wish she was sent to Iran so she could see, or the Middle East, so she could see how stupid her statement is. The fact that show is still on TV drives me insane, because I can't imagine what kind of dumbasses are watching it on a daily basis, listening to that drivel.
Well, you're dumber for having watched
That
that
is,
show.
as you were, that's the quote right there.
And
we are all dumber.
So
for having heard you
this
say
next one, I'm gonna say straight up, it's AI, but it works well. This guy trolls the View like it is nobody's business, and it's fucking fantastic.
I do want to point out something that he came in and Obama left him quite well off, left the nation well off. And Biden also left the country very well off.
Oh,
See,
for
that
God's
folks
sake.
have to remember, we are very fickle in this country. We forget, you can be mad at one side or the other, but you have to stick with the facts. And the facts are, we left good stuff. He has pooped on it.
Right.
He has now taken us to a place where people are just being removed.
Illegals, Whoopi, when you say people are being removed, they are illegal immigrants and they are being deported. But about the timeline you just provided on the state of immigrants under the last 3 presidents, yes, Obama left him well off. He deported more illegals than Trump. And I don't think we're supposed to mention that. But the same trend continued under Trump's first term. And then Biden got in. He got in, opened the borders, and we saw the highest number of border crossings in U.S. history under his watch. And now Trump is cleaning that up. That is the actual timeline, whoop, whoop, okay? So
Whoop, whoop.
I find it ironic when you say, we forget what happened and we need to stick with the facts. while at the same time you rely on selective memory and you distort the facts.
I like his AI.
So,
I
dude,
know
it
it's
is-
AI, but it's not really AI because all he's doing is clipping himself into the thing.
He's
So it's not
stating
like-
facts.
Yeah, no, and he's responding to their actual statements. So that's kind of like
It's very impressive.
it's
though.
like he spliced himself into the show. I like it. I like him.
Let's see. All right. Well, speaking of AI, Dan, you sent this to me.
Okay.
And this shit's fucking scary. And I agree. Like, again, in your subject line, and you probably didn't write it. Now that I know, is this AI or not? It is getting so good. And I've gotten down a TikTok fucking wormhole of the Yetis and Sasquatch
That's
AI
real.
shit.
That's
and
real.
God, it is so funny. But you sent me this, and
Okay. Again, more contributions to the show.
yes, that you don't
But you
remember.
said you didn't even do anything.
That you don't remember.
I thought I did. I'll try
But
it.
how scary this fucking AI is. So for the audio listeners, this looks like a newscast. Yeah, you got an anchor and a co-anchor. Oh, it's good.
It's June, Pride Month.
It's also Men's Mental Health
Yeah,
Month.
but no better time than now to let your junk hang out at the parade.
Jackie joins us live at the Pride Fest.
We're here live at Identity Fest, where sausage parties meet Scissor Central.
Today, I'm a pan-dimensional soul fox identifying as a pansexual.
Stunning and brave. Back to you, Erica.
What a powerful way to honor Men's Mental Health Month by not mentioning men at all.
That's right, Erica. In other news, parents who don't give their kids puberty blockers are going to jail. We go live to Tammy, reporting from the front lines of mental
Going live
illness.
to Tammy.
We're here with a parent who listened to the Jewish community. What inspired this journey? He said he wants to be a girl. That's so courageous.
Wow. It's June.
Audio listeners, it looks so it looks so fucking real. There's just so much out there. So now, like now,
that is such a commentary on exactly what local television is these days.
Oh.
You know, you guys. He wants to be a girl. How courageous!
it's fucking scary though. Now, like preparing a fucking podcast.
Oh, it's funny.
Because I looked something up and I'm like, ooh, I probably need to fact check that one.
Yeah,
I mean that one would have been obvious, but
you have to fact check everything. Sadly, these days,
That's
even I mean, because you just don't know what to believe. It's so murky out there.
I'm trying to. Oh,
And I've been who hasn't? Listen, let me ask you a question. Who hasn't been faked out? I've been faked out by stories I thought were real.
Absolutely.
I mean, they look real, they sound real, and they reference sources that you would be thought were real, but then you're like, oh, I got to fact check this, and lo and behold, it turns out it's not true.
We do have an update.
I have yet to be faked out.
Oh,
I'm
give
sure.
me a
I'm
break.
sure.
I'm sure that you've shared or at least read something, and you're like, that's real, and then you're like, go.
My
back.
first thought,
It's not even an article.
whenever I see,
It's his
whenever
bank
I
account
see
getting
any
faked out.
story.
It says bank account getting faked.
Whenever
out.
I
That
see
can't
any
be real.
story, especially one that I like, especially one that I would, my first thought is, if this is true, then this is awesome. That's it. That's where I go, because everything I read, I try to verify everything I read before I even come close to talking about it on the air.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's
So you have never been faked out by somebody. Not that you've commented
Years ago.
on the air, but you've.
I'll
never been-
I'll tell you how long ago this was. I was on the radio.
God, you're smarter than everybody in the world. Then
I'm not saying I'm not saying that. I'm just saying my radar has been on for this for a long, and this is I'm telling you the incident that put me over the edge.
Gotta make him Gandalf in the picture.
I was
You're going back to Frodo.
I was on the radio one night, and this is back when the whole thing
I stay the king
with Penn State and what was the guy's name?
Oh, the coach,
Jerry Sandusky,
and Joe Paterno and all that. And so Joe Paterno had left in disgrace at Penn State. So I was on the air one night, and it was on a weekend night. We were discussing this, and I had some guests on. A lot of call. I mean, the talk radio was unbelievably hot at that time because everyone wanted to have thoughts about Sandusky and Penn State and everything. So we're getting towards the end of the program, about the last 20, 25 minutes. My producer says, "Oh my God." And I said, "What?" She says, "Joe Paterno is dead." And I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty big deal." And immediately I start looking. I'm looking.
I remember you tell me this story.
I'm looking at the AP. I'm looking at I'm looking at Fox News. I'm looking at all these different sources to see if anyone's reporting that Joe Paterno is dead. I said, where are you getting that? Well, it's on my, this is before Twitter. So, whatever the social media was before that, she says, my social media is blowing up with this. So I said, you know what? I can't find it. I can't corroborate it. So we do another segment. We get to another break. And she says, I'm telling you, he's dead. And I'm like, looking. I can't find it. So finally, at the end of the program, I said, we're getting reports now that Joe Paterno has died. And I put that out on the air. I go home. I wake up the next morning. I see Joe Paterno's son on TV saying, my father is not dead. So that was the last time I ever did anything like that based on what someone told me, even someone I knew I should have trusted, before I can
corroborate, know
that the story is coming from a source that is, that should know something.
Well,
I see these stories on, and so my radar has been on for these kind of things forever.
Did you issue a correction?
Oh yeah, the next time I was on, I apologized. I don't know if anyone was really listening to me at that time, but I felt bad about it. And that incident has stuck with me all these years. How long ago was the Joe Paterno?
Oh, I don't even remember.
Jerry Sandusky thing.
It was a while ago.
15 years, 20 years. I don't know.
Years are melding together.
It was a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
Hey, we got an update. We got an update on our girl.
Oh God.
We got an update on our girl. Married ex-teacher hit with 52 additional child sex charges related to multiple alleged trysts.
Busy girl.
With 15-year-old male student. So we covered this and we showed some of the body cam of when she got arrested. But of course, somehow or another it hits my feed.
You got to like that go get him attitude.
She was after it.
Getting up and getting after it, yeah.
Former Illinois special education teacher accused of molesting a 15-year-old student has been hit with 52 additional charges relating to previous accusations of sex crimes.
30 years old. She was 30.
So amazing to me, like watching the body cam where she was like, well, when she got pulled out of her car, her husband was in the passenger seat and she gets put in cuffs and taken to the station. And she was like, oh, my God, I feel like I'm going to throw up. What's wrong? Why am I being detained? Now, you already had I think she got hit with like 3 or 4 in the beginning. And now there's another 52 additional.
Well,
I'm only going to hit that real quick just because we just had to recap. Because, we got to know what old girl's doing. You got to follow up on the news, right, Dano?
Absolutely.
She's going away for a while.
Yeah. What the fuck?
30 years old. The kid was 14.
Wow. She was hot.
She was, that's a mugshot where it's hard to look good. So, I imagine.
But even the mugshot wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad. She's got some mental issues. Can you imagine her poor husband? The guy's in the car. She gets arrested. And he's like, why are you arresting my wife?
What happened?
Honey. Do you think he bailed her out? Be like, you're staying in there for a while.
I can't remember if she got bail or not.
I'm sure she probably did. That's not a violent crime.
I can't remember.
It's a violent crime.
But the three counts, I can't remember.
It's not like like someone's gonna die type thing. Dangerous crime.
We're gonna talk about our buddy Murph here real quick.
Murphy Engraving.
Hi everyone, Dan Carroll here. Time to tell you about a great new sponsor for the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. It's Murphy Engraving. Murphy Engraving is the place to go for your business, industrial, and personal engraving needs. Take a look at the Murphy Engraving page on Facebook, and you're going to see all kinds of unique items that really seem to take on a life of their own because they've been customized with an image, a name, or a logo, and all of it just really beautifully done. The acrylic sports awards that light up are especially creative and very cool. The customized bottles of bourbon, those are my personal favorite. And wait till you see what they can do with items that are made out of wood. The next time you want to recognize someone special or you're looking for that one-of-a-kind gift, you'll be glad you checked out Murphy Engraving. And a bonus, you're supporting a local family-owned business run by brothers Brian and Kevin, who was a lifetime firefighter and Air Force vet. At Murphy Engraving, they turn the ordinary into the extraordinary and At Murphy Engraving, we are American made.
American made.
America.
I'm actually going to meet up with him. He's looking to start a fire podcast. So him and I may be collaborating on something with that. But
cool.
We were supposed to meet today, but I had to push it off. But so Kevin Murphy's been awesome. We love him. You guys got final thoughts? What's your weekends look like?
Hopefully golf for me is my weekend, but
full time, I'm sure.
My final thought is great decision by the United States Supreme Court yesterday.
Yep.
To find the Tennessee law that bans they call it gender affirming care, but it's really child mutilation.
Correct.
The thing about this is that there are multiple other states, including here in Ohio. I believe the number is 25 or 27 states have laws that are very, very similar to the Tennessee law that are, most, if not all of them, are being challenged by the ACLU to, let kids be brutalized in this way. But the Supreme Court found that the Tennessee law was constitutional, that the outlawing of these child mutilation procedures, I saw a doctor on TV yesterday talking about these puberty blockers and these cross-sex hormones. He said these are some of the most powerful drugs ever created.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking crazy.
The most powerful drug. And think about that. And you're supposed to load your kid up with these things.
And think about what it does to your body, though, how that works.
It makes you a patient for life.
For life.
You will have a lifetime
yes.
of medical procedures, infections, all kinds of shit going wrong.
We could do a whole show on that.
Yeah.
Did you ever look up the people that actually did transition?
Don't want to.
I don't want
to.
to.
Fucking gross.
I don't want to because it's so commonsensically wrong. I struggle with these people. A lot of them here in our community that argue on the other side of this issue, like it's no big deal and we got to be understanding and blah 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 blah. Look, you're an adult. If you're an adult, you can do what you want. I don't really care. Honestly, you want to do something as an adult, that's fine. But Dan's right. Giving a kid this stuff and bowing to your kids' wishes when they're, what is it, 7, 8, some very young, some very, very young.
Absolutely.
Is to me just a form of child abuse. I agree with Dan's perception on that and his description of that. Kudos to the decision was, what was it? What was the decision?
6-3.
6-3.
You got Ketanji Jackson Brown,
who has children.
You've got Elena Kagan,
who does not have children,
who looks like she could be a man. And then
she might have transitioned.
And then you've got
not that there's anything.
Sonia Sotomayor, the wise Latina.
She does not have
who
children
thinks it's
either.
a good idea for kids to undergo these barbaric procedures.
I just, if your kid can't make a decision, anything legal at that age for anything affecting his life, he can't enter in a contract, can't even rent a car. I mean, but you could say that he can decide to be, he or she can decide to change sexes and alter their life. My point was, I read a report that of all the people that transition, like you got to go out like 10 years later, the rate of self-harm after 10 years is astronomically high. And by self-harm,
absolutely.
I mean suicide or something like that.
Yeah.
So, we are, Dan's right. You're putting these children in a position that they're going to be a victim for life. I mean, they're going to be,
and that's a perfect phrase too. A victim that you created.
Because you have some sort of, you're projecting your wishes in some way, shape, or form onto your children. Munchausen syndrome?
It's called Munchausen's proxy.
Or
no, Munchausen syndrome by proxy.
That's it. That's
is what it's
called. Robbie used to talk about that all the time.
And it is a these people think they're being, and if you look at, I heard another thing, the rate of this in Hollywood actors, is like astronomical.
It's like a status symbol.
It is.
It is like a status.
It's like having a little Chihuahua
Yeah.
dog in your purse.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my kid's trans, and then you're like in the in crowd in Hollywood.
You've got a better chance of winning the lottery, like 100 times, than you do of having a kid who is supposedly gender dysphoria. Here's what Elizabeth Warren had to say about it: trans kids suffer when they don't get medically necessary care. This is how out of touch Elizabeth Warren is.
Pocahontas?
Pocahontas. For her to go out there and say that this is medically necessary care.
Why is it medically necessary, Dan?
It's not.
Okay.
Every piece of medical evidence that's come out in the last year and a half or 2 years has shown that phrase is 100% without question. Wrong. The question I would ask her, 100. I did say it.
100%.
I read an article about that, and look, I've talked about this many times.
And if anything, it would be psychologically medical care.
Yeah.
Not
medical, right? Yeah.
That's where the work needs to be done.
Yeah,
is between the
psychological,
ears,
right?
Not loading them up with drugs and start lopping off body parts. The one I read an article about this one time, and there was a doctor who wrote this article, and he said, ask yourself this question: if nothing is done, if no procedures are done, what harm is done to the body?
Nothing.
Because this body is going to grow and it's going to mature and progress in its normal, natural state.
Right.
So if there's no intervention at all, there's no harm that's done to the body. It's not like you're removing a tumor.
Right.
It's not like, you found something wrong where, your gut is twisted in a knot. And if a surgery is not performed, then the patient's going to die.
Right.
It's not like that. So the notion that this is medically necessary and that abomination of a assistant Health and Human Services Secretary Rachel Levin was out there advocating for this kind of stuff over and over and over again.
I think he was an admiral.
That is one sick individual.
Yeah, what's he doing these days?
No, he's not in the government.
We need to do a follow-up and see what old Rachel Levin is doing these days.
Probably hanging out in some fucking dive bar.
Probably working
at the end of the bar.
Just pole dancer down at some skeg bar down in some shithole.
Watching child porn on a laptop somewhere, no doubt.
I would love to catch him in the act. I would love to see him busted on that. But I agree with it's not even a divisive issue. The left has pushed too far on this. This is probably a 90. We think it's about a 95-5 issue. I would struggle to think it's even 80-20.
Well, Cory Booker is out there, and he was saying
Spartacus.
He was saying, "Oh, this is only less than 1% of the population.
Then why are we going through
why
this?
are you why do you continue to bully these kids?
I'm not bullying them.
No, they're saving the kids.
That's right.
They're saving these kids. And listen to the stories of these people who have detransitioned.
That's right.
Listen to the stories of the people who have witnessed. Just the horrible effects. Do we dare look at this picture right here?
No, I don't.
Do we dare put that picture out there?
Nope. Sure
Look,
not.
This is a girl who had the chest surgery. Look at those scars.
I'm not looking.
It's horrific.
Yes.
It is. It's.
Yes.
It's one of the worst things you can ever see.
Why are you looking at it? Turn your page.
All right, fine. I turned it off. Don't look at it.
I hope that we're going to come back.
That's the kind of thing that Elizabeth Warren supports.
Of course it is, because the Democrat Party has shifted so far to the left, they don't even know where they are. They are in financial trouble. They're out of money. They have to borrow money.
Jesus Christ.
They even had, what's her face, the teachers union president left the Democrat Party because she feels like, not because they're too liberal, out of something else, but, they fired, what's that puke's name? The kid with the gun.
David Hogg.
Yeah, they fired David Hogg. They are just an absolute rudderless ship with no direction, no message, no meaning, no purpose, other than they were united by they hate Trump. Okay, I get it. You hate Trump. Congratulations. Get in line. Who gives a shit?
Remember that obese woman they brought in to try and
trying to close this motherfucker
corral
out.
more votes?
You two.
Oh yeah.
They said for some reason.
No, she knew how to get a hold. She knew how to reach single white men.
Yeah, they said for some reason she's not getting the job done.
She couldn't reach single white men in a drive-through. She should go to a fat camp.
It's so funny. It's
I
so
do know
funny.
a local fat
I'm
camp she
so
could go
getting
to.
ready to mute.
Can
No,
we
no,
see,
no,
a,
but
can we
it's
see a
funny
picture
stuff.
of that?
I would show you the picture, but it's one of those pictures that when you see, you just have to. It's like the picture there you saw. Whatever.
All right.
It's an advertisement for Easy Go golf carts. I didn't know they could haul that much shit. Sorry. No one knows what we're talking about, but I showed them.
Exactly.
I know, but it's funny. I got
That's
Dan.
funny
I got
as
Dan
shit.
cracked up.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, there's a few
All right.
people that do know.
Thanks for watching. That was fun.
We're coming back to you Monday.
Monday. What time?
5, 4 or 5.
Okay.
It'll be 4 or 5. I will put it out on Instagram.
Can we do another? You want me to do another thumbnail?
Yeah. Get it to me early, and I will throw it out.
What is the theme for Monday?
I need you motherfuckers to send me shit.
I got to think of a theme for the show on Monday.
See,
Well,
if you
the
say
theme is the news. You dumb.
If you say
dick.
we'll be back at 7.
I know, but I know, but I got to.
We'll see you guys Monday.
What do you wanna
I'm
do?
ending this
We
shit
returned to
show
the
right
King
now.
was today.